Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series. Today we'll be discussing Ozark Season 3. So you know the drill by now. Again, shout out to the 43 subs. But we'll do my overall grade first, then plot synopsis and character development, overall grade and general impressions, and then major themes question mark, which is a crime drama, so probably no major themes. But overall grade, I will give it, I'm probably going to drop it down to a C, just a flat C, because there's no flats or sharps in the C major scale, but it's a C, no plus or minus. Biggest, I don't know, some of the characters are getting stale. I thought this season Wendy Bird was off-putting. I thought Ruth Langmore's characterization is off-putting. Not the actresses, just the characterization and writing. Less low lighting scenes, which was a big knock for the previous seasons, so I thought there was less of those. Didn't have to go into full military grade lockdown, black out all the windows just to watch a TV show, which is pretty cool. But C flat, like I said, just didn't really, not just whatever. I mean, not off-putting, not super entertaining, and definitely not super well done in my opinion. So really just the characterizations of Ruth and Wendy are rather off-putting. And again, I said at the beginning of the Ozark, like I said, I like kind of like the hillbilly kind of criminal element at least from like Justified. But it just hasn't played out the way I thought it would in terms of just like, I thought the plot would develop better. Hasn't been super entertaining for me. So C. So if you've not seen the season and you want to go watch it, stop this video now. We'll be discussing the major plot development and plot synopsis and character development. So what happens at the end of season 2? I just watched the first episode of season 4. But end of season 2, remember, they get the casino, and then Marty is ready to leave, and Wendy's trying to expand. So the first kind of scene I believe you get in season 3 is you meet Ben. I have Ben Bird, but it's obviously not Bird. I think it's Ben Davis. But Wendy's brother comes to town. Wendy is hungry for expansion, and Marty is not. So I believe the first scene is actually Ben. He's a substitute teacher somewhere, and he gets mad at kids for having cell phones, so he throws them, collects them all and then throws them into like the wood chipper outside of the school, and then beats up the janitor. So that's why Ben comes to town. But throughout the season, Marty and Wendy really start to separate. Basically, Marty's trying to sabotage Wendy's plans, and Wendy's trying to expand with Helen and the cartel. Helen's daughter, Erin, comes for the summer. Her ex gets beat up. So Helen has a daughter, and remember, all of the Bird family knows exactly what's going on. Helen's ex, who plays a very minor role, he gets beat up throughout the season and is in the hospital, but her daughter, Erin, comes to town. And Erin has no idea what her mother does. So she comes to town, she wants to lose her virginity. She makes friends with Charlotte and Jonah, kind of show her around. They hang out with some of the Kansas City mob group people. Ruth throws the KC mob, Frank Cosgrove Jr., off of the top of the boat. Sabotages a competing casino's fireworks, and Ruth and Wyatt distance. So basically, Ruth, again, she every time she delivers a line to some edgy one-liner gotcha with some swear words in there, it's just super unconvincing throughout the entire season for me. But she has some words throughout the season with this KC mob dude, and basically I'm not really sure what they're doing through the season. Like they're laundering money, but I'm not sure exactly what why Ruth is laundering money with the KC mob. So I mean, maybe missed some plot or something with Marty. But I wasn't personally exactly sure what the relationship was between the KC mob people and Ruth, and then Marty as well. So Wendy's trying to get this other casino. And they have to buy it from this old couple, and Marty's kind of playing this old couple to like not have them sell so they don't have to expand and have more exposure to the cartel, and Wendy's trying to be this big businesswoman founder person or something now. And so they sabotage like a competing casino's fireworks. Basically they have the KC mob dudes go in there and put some like explosives or something, so the whole thing goes up in flames and they're out of business for 6 to 8 months or something. And that does something with the negotiations of Wendy and Helen trying to acquire the new casino. An old man haphazardly kills his wife. But Ruth and Wyatt distance because Ruth tells Wyatt that she was the one that killed his father. And I believe that's season 3, not season 2. and so they grow apart. Wyatt shacks up with Darlene in this season, which I thought was probably fucking funny. Darlene's got to be, I don't know, late 60s, and Wyatt's got to be like, I don't know, 17, 18, 19. So they're dating throughout the season. But the old man that is the guy, the second casino Wendy's trying to buy is owned by an older couple, and he haphazardly kills his wife. Basically, he's arguing or like trying to put his foot down, and they're literally like walking over this like old hill, and he like raises his hand, like not trying to like aggressively hit her, but he hits her, and then she tumbles down this big long like hill and dies in the water. It's a lot of like the killing or dying, and this is kind of like in season 2 when Sam's mom gets hit by the car or the truck. It's kind of like, again, not really a comedic element, but it's really like just kind of like goofy. So it's kind of just like strange. Marty and Wendy go to couples therapy. Sue gets clipped. So you meet their therapist, Sue Shelby, who's an old lady, mid-70s, early 80s maybe. But basically Marty's paying off the therapist from the get-go to side with him. And Helen's Helen is the lawyer for the cartel, and she's really like, you got to be careful what you say, we're gonna kill your whole family. And so they're like, Wendy and Marty are working out their problems, but like kind of like in code. And then towards one of the end of the sessions, Marty starts off paying Sue the whole time, and then towards like after a couple sessions or whatever, Wendy starts trying to pay off Sue. So at the like last session, Sue tells both of them they're both paying each other off. And so Marty and Wendy explode in front of Sue, and to keep they break the code, and they start talking about all the money laundering, the cartel, and all of the things out in the open. So Marty's like, how do we pay off Sue? So they pay her $100,000, and then very quickly Helen and Nelson, who is the main hit guy for the cartel, Navarro cartel, they sign up appointments, and then Sue gets whacked pretty. I think it's middle of the season, later in the season, but within pretty quickly introduction, Sue's out of the game. So sorry, Sue, she didn't make it too long. Casey Mob loses 3 guys at a drop. Ruth gets put in the hospital. So as again and throughout the entire season, one of the first, probably maybe even before you meet Ben. There's just the Navarro cartel is, I think, Lagunas. They're at war with another cartel. So there's the very first scene, some Mexican dude's cutting another Mexican dude's throat. He makes the bank, like he makes money go everywhere, and the people are collecting money and puts a bomb by them and blows up a bunch of people. So in the background, well, not in the background, but the what's going on in Mexico is just a bunch of cartel war. And so the Lagunas come up to. Again, I'm not sure how the Casey mob, why the Lagunas would want to kill people from the Casey mob. So I don't really. Again, I'm missing something or just not paying super close attention. But they come and hit 3 of the guys, and it was 3 of the guys. They were basically Helen's daughter, Erin. She was trying to lose her virginity to one of the associates of the Casey mob, and he's one of the guys that gets killed. And there's a scene where they're drinking beers, and these guys are probably mid-20s, late 20s, and these are Jonah. Charlotte and Aaron are like, Jonah's a couple years younger, and I think Charlotte and Aaron are like 16, 17. So they're drinking beers, shooting some guns. They go to jail for that. They get bailed out, and then those 3 guys get hit. And so Frank Cosgrove Jr., who's friends with all of those guys, gets really mad at Ruth and thinks like Ruth set him up or something. So he beats up Ruth and puts her into the hospital. And then Ruth wants Marty and Wendy to kill or have the cartel kill Frank Cosgrove Jr., and that can't be done because he's part of the Casey mob. So Wyatt shacks up with Darlene, Ruth, and Ben Boink. So Ben is bipolar, he's on his meds, he can't get his flaccid weenie erected the first time they're trying to boink with Ruth, and so the next time he goes off of his meds, which causes a big problem because now Ben is volatile. Marty gets raided and audited by the FBI, and he gets tortured in Mexico. So you meet Agent Maya Miller, pregnant lady, and they're basically, the instant they get this second casino, it triggers a warrant, and now they can audit the entire, and check all of the receipts every hour at the casino. And so Marty seemed to be right, as Wendy's expansion was putting them in more jeopardy. But he gets taken down to Mexico. He tells the FBI he went to Kansas City, but basically in Mexico he gets tortured with like loud music, doesn't get to eat much food. And then one of the flags, the accounts, and while he's in Mexico, they're still supposed to be laundering money, so they keep the operation going, but Ruth can't do it without Marty. Well, what's really happens is that one of the accounts gets flagged, and Maya Miller was the one who did that, so Marty could show Navarro he has worth to his organization, unflags the account, and Navarro gets his money. So that kind of, Maya Miller's kind of helping out Marty. Aaron, Charlotte, Jonah pop caps with the Casey Associates, already talked about that. Ruth has a slot machine hack. So another thing when they were trying to acquire the second casino, basically Ruth is like running the casino for Marty, and she was tasked with figuring out like how someone could cheat at the casino, and she figures out a cheat, so they use it against the other casino to make them lose like $200,000 an hour or something. And so that's another angle or leverage they have to get these old people to sell them the second casino. Ben gets committed and released, explodes at Helen and Aaron. And basically, Ben is becoming a liability. He becomes quickly aware of what's going on with the birds. He does not know when he originally gets there, but quickly gets in the game. He's now in love with Ruth. And he just basically gets Marty and Wendy get a judge to put him in, committed to a mental facility, and then Darlene, who's now sleeping with Wyatt, who likes Ruth and Ben are in love, so Wyatt gets Darlene to use Sheriff Nix to get the judge to reverse the order for commitment. So right when Ben gets out, he just goes right to Helen's house and just lays it all out right in front of Aaron, and that's clearly going to get him killed. And so immediately after that, Ben's like, "Oh, why is that bad?" And they go on the run, and he calls Helen. But basically, the scenario now is either Helen's going to have Ben get killed, or the entire Bird family will get killed. So a very emotional setup. Wendy has to set up her brother. He gets whacked by Nelson, and then they have to burn the body in their own funeral home. So again, because now we have a really upset Ruth at the Birds because they killed her lover. Jonah's very upset because he was very good friends with Ben, and so you have some realignments of the loyalties. Basically, Ruth breaks ties with the Birds. Jonah's relationship with his parents are very strained, and even with Charlotte is strained. And yeah, Navarro's girlfriend gets sprayed. Basically, Navarro has a couple kids. His girlfriend's having another child, and you just have a scene where Navarro's watching like the baptism of his infant child on a screen, and another Lagunas cartel member comes in and just sprays the whole block down. So basically, everyone besides the baby gets killed. And so that happens. Darlene shoots Frank Jr.'s dick off. So basically, because beating up Ruth, and now Ruth, Wyatt, and Darlene are kind of aligned, you have Darlene who's crazy, and she whacks dudes. She loves whacking dudes, catching some bodies. And so she goes up to Frank Cosgrove Jr., asks him if he was sorry for hurting Ruth, and then shoots his wiener off. So Frank Jr., I think he's still alive, which medically I think that would cause enough blood loss to kill you. But we don't know. Put question mark by Frank Jr., but no wiener. No wiener. No wiener. So Jonah pulls up on Helen. Basically, literally pulls up into her house with a shotgun, ready to kill her for having Ben killed. And then Helen says, "Well, your mom set him up." Which again, kind of a weak development for me is because originally again they were all with each other for it. Again, that was an interesting angle. The kids knowing about the drug dealing as well. But then they don't really say directly. Marty and Wendy don't say, "Hey Jonah, if we didn't have Ben set up, we would all be dead." And so Jonah getting upset about Ben being dead is not super consistent with just the tonality of what I think would happen in real life. But yeah, so he pulls up on Helen, learns that his mom set him up, and then goes back And then Navarro whacks Helen instantly in Mexico, and that's the last scene of the season. Basically, Navarro summons Helen and Wendy and Marty Bird, and right when they pull up in Mexico, right when they get off the plane and they're at the nice facility, Navarro whacks Helen, and her brains and blood go all over Wendy and Marty. And that's the last of season 3. So you can overall see is pretty much the plot's pretty much the same type of development as season 2 and 1. The characterizations of Wendy and of Ruth, who play major roles. And Wendy's just way too emphatic. They kind of jump all over the place, and Ruth is just unconvincing when she's swearing every line and using these as one-liner gotchas. So overall, C didn't really do much for me. I'll watch season 4 just to finish it out and make some more content. But I don't know. I like season 2 and season 1 better. So thank you for watching my review of Ozark season 3.